Welcome to our channel. My name is Tracy. I'm the keeper of the home here at 4D Farms, where we are all about faith, family, home, and farm. I hope you find something on our channel that will encourage you and inspire you on your journey. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, hit like and subscribe, and be sure to turn that little notifications bell on so you'll get notified every time a brand new video is uploaded. We hope to see you in each and every one. Thanks for watching. Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. I have another treat for y'all and I hope y'all are going to enjoy it. This is another day trip that we took on one of dear hubby's days off, just like the video before this one. But this one was a special day trip because I have been waiting on this trip for about 3 years. 3 years ago, we were in Virginia, and I had planned to make this trip one day while dear hubby was at work, and I did not get to go because it was severe thunderstorms that day and tornado watches everywhere where we were at, and he begged me not to go. So to respect his wishes, I did not get to go. And before I knew it, the work trip was ending. I did not get to plan another day, and I absolutely missed my opportunity. As soon as I found out where our next job was going to be, oh, y'all, that idea come back in my head, and I said, I know exactly where I'm gonna go. And he said, well, you know what? You can, because actually we're gonna be closer this time than where we were the last time we were in Virginia. And of course, I'm like, goody. So the first place that we headed to, and I'll tell you this, dear hubby took me on this day because he knew how special it was to me, and he wanted to be the one to take me. And the one that I'm the most anxious about to tell you about is coming up. But these first few clips that you've been watching, our first stop in Virginia on this particular day was in Yorktown. Now, when you visit Virginia, they recommend you doing like the triangle tour. And what that is, Yorktown, Jamestown, Williamsburg. Yorktown has the museum, the American Revolutionary War Museum. And that's in Yorktown, and this was our first stop. It takes you through the timeline of the American Revolutionary War and who all was involved, what all happened. Yes, it was a humongous museum. Then on the outside of the museum, where they had like set up an actual visual fort settlement, where you could see like where the tents of the commanding officer, soldiers, people like that were camping, and then some farmhouses of some of the locals that were in the area. And it was such a nice place to visit and to see, and just to learn all of the history of how the states were involved, all of the commanding officers that were involved, the timeline, then how the war at sea, then how it moved to the south. Y'all, it was very interesting. And then the next stop that you need to go on in the triangle is the Jamestown Settlement, and I will get to more in that in just a moment. The third place would be back down around the triangle to Williamsburg. We did not have a chance to go to Williamsburg to finish the day because we got an early start that morning, and to be honest, the two places that we went to first took us the longest, and actually by the time we walked through the Jamestown Settlement, I was about to die and cry at the same time because my feet and my legs were killing me. And I'm like, I cannot go any further. And he said, okay, let's just go. You saw that picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware. Some of these old photos were in there, y'all, of all of the timeless photos that you see in history. They were in this museum, and the originals, and then how the Indians were involved at that time and around all these settlements, because you had Yorktown, Jamestown, Williamsburg. Even the Jamestown Settlement was involved in some of these. And that's why they want you to do the triangle. The last stop was in Williamsburg, and that is where you can see one of the battleships and tour it. And y'all, I just honestly couldn't do it. But the next place that's going to be coming up in just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and start telling you about it. Oh yeah, there's the sign, there's the Declaration of Independence, everything. You learn about all the presidents that were involved, the signing of the Declaration of the Independence, the Battle of the Great Bridge. It's all in this museum, y'all, and it was wonderful. The shot heard around the world. The British are coming, the British are coming. Okay, yeah, Paul Revere. Yes, y'all, it was in there. Of course, me and George had our picture made together there at the beginning, as you saw. And then they had makeshift battleships and cottages in there that was on some of the plantations. A lot of history in Yorktown. Jamestown is connected to it, and that is the Jamestown Settlement. If you do not know anything about it, you really need to read about it, and if you ever get the chance to go, please do, because I'm going to tell you right now, I am related to Pocahontas. Yes, you heard that right. All my life, we were told that on my Miller side of the family, I am biologically a Miller. And we were always told all our life that there was an Indian princess somewhere in our lineage. But no one knew exactly who it was. The information had just been passed down to generation, but somewhere along the line, somebody just lost the name. So a wonderful cousin of ours spent the time and the money to do research and trace our heritage back. And believe it or not, we traced it back all the way. Let me get my piece of paper here, because I have papers. I come with papers. All the way back to 1517. 1516, actually. And we're related to Pocahontas through one of her half-sisters named Cleopatra. So actually, Pocahontas is our 13th generation aunt. Cleopatra is our 13th generation grandmother. They were at the Jamestown Settlement. They were born and raised on the Jamestown Settlement. And down through the years, we've had relatives wind up all the way in, let's see, of course, starting out in Jamestown, Virginia, because Cleopatra was born and raised in Jamestown, Virginia. Let me see. Let me make sure I've got that information correct. Yes. Okay. And then our family traveled down, y'all. our family traveled down through Monroe County, Tennessee, Henderson County, Tennessee, Tishomingo County, Mississippi, Alcorn County, Mississippi, and then eventually my grandfather on the Miller side lived in Tupelo, Mississippi. So y'all, we go all the way back to the Jamestown Settlement. And this is why this meant so much for me to go to this day, and for dear hubby to take me, is because he knew how important it was for me to see where my ancestors were from. And now we're hitting the Jamestown Settlement. And y'all, when we got there, I just about wanted to start crying, because I'm like, I'm really here. I'm doing this. I didn't get to do it 3 years ago. If you will see right in that past clip, Pocahontas's real name was Rebecca. Okay, and her Christian name, she was given that name, but her father had named her Pocahontas, which meant mischievous one. And you'll see in this slideshow, you can pause each one and you can read each one of these if you want to. There will be pictures of Pocahontas, not a lot of pictures on Cleopatra. There was more pictures of Pocahontas and their father, Chief Powhatan. Now, or Powhatan, however you want to pronounce it, because every chief of the Powhatan tribe was called Chief Powhatan, but that was not their given birth name. I don't even think I can pronounce Cleopatra and Pocahontas's father's name. It's kind of hard. Let me see. There's Cleopatra. Wahansunakok. I think, y'all, I'm not sure. That would be my Cleopatra and Pocahontas's father. Now, his father is also listed on this. And then when I tell this story to people, come to find out the pastor of our church is from the Pocahontas lineage. And one of my daughter-in-laws, the daughter-in-law of our youngest son, she goes back in this history. Yes. So it's amazing the things that you can find out when you backtrack your lineage. I would encourage everybody to do it. I could have spent the night in this museum, because that's how much this meant to me. It was just not meant for me to do this 3 years ago. It was meant at this time, at this moment, and dear hubby to take me, and we go together. I had so much fun in this museum, y'all. Honestly, there was relics. There was the story of how the Jamestown Settlement was, that tribe was here first. There was 13 more tribes around the Jamestown Settlement. And if you look on your map, of course, you're going to see like Yorktown, Williamsburg, Jamestown Settlement. You can go across the river. That bridge at the beginning that we went across, yes, all of that is connected. And y'all, I love the Disney movie Pocahontas 2. And so many people believe that Pocahontas wound up marrying John Smith. No, she didn't. She married John Rolfe. And she later traveled, left the tribe and left her family, and went to New England to carry out her role with her husband, John Rolfe, and Pocahontas is buried in England. She became a Christian and she was baptized in the Christian church, and they gave her the name of Rebecca. On some of these slides, you will read some of her the accounts that people made of Pocahontas, aka Rebecca, and a lot of her accomplishments. Now, their father, Chief Powhatan, is actually buried in Virginia, and I was going to visit the place also that he was buried. I did not get to make it there, but I would have loved to have visited that area and paid my respects. But in this museum, it shows of how their involvement of the attack that was on the Jamestown Settlement, and actually the settlement was destroyed, and they actually had to kind of like take remnants of what was left of the settlement, and they kind of moved down a little ways and rebuilt like a makeshift Jamestown settlement, but tried to keep it as authentic and as nostalgic as possible to replicate it. And we will get to walking on some of the grounds here in a little bit, and you can see like the village, how they were set up. They didn't all live in teepees. They had like makeshift wigwam things. We got to see some demonstrations of how that's an uncle of them. I do not see his name on here. Yes, I do. I just don't know how to pronounce it. But that was one of Chief Powhatan's brothers. And when I saw his monument there, Chief Powhatan, it may have been before this, or it may be coming up, but I got a picture of Chief Powhatan, one of the statues, and y'all, I actually got goosebumps when I saw my ancestors and the way that they lived, and just it was awesome, y'all. I do not know any other words to describe it. And Matoke, y'all, I do not know how to pronounce her name. But Pocahontas was like a nickname. Her real name is on there, but then her Christian giving name when she went to England was Rebecca. So she had many names. And just seeing portraits of my ancestors, I had goosebumps. I honestly did not know what to say. I was just in awe of this museum. And of course, she helped her father understand that peace needed to come after the war, and peace between the tribes. And y'all, the Powhatan tribes are also related to the Cherokee tribes. So some of those wound up in the eastern part of Tennessee. And to be honest with you, another relative that I am related to is if you have ever gone to the Smoky Mountains, Cades Cove in Townsend, Tennessee, my mother is an Oliver, and we are part of that family, the Olivers that were the first settlers in the Great Smoky Mountains in Cades Cove. If you've ever been there, we're related to them. John Oliver was I believe, fifth or sixth generation uncle My mother is related to them, which means I'm related. And we used to go on trips twice a year to the Smoky Mountains when I was in high school. And we drove through Cades Cove one day, and we went into the museum, and we just so happened to have picked up one of the books, volume 1 of the Oliver Ancestry. And lo and behold, my mother looked in the back of that book, and she was staring at the face of her grandfather. He was the last person recorded in that book. My grandmother picked up and was trying to finish the lineage and was going to make a volume 2, but she passed away. And to this day, we still have not come up with part 2, volume 2 of my Oliver ancestry. So my Miller ancestry on my biological father's side, we're related all the way back to Pocahontas. And on my mother's side, we're related all the way back to the first settlers in the Smoky Mountains in Cades Cove. These are some places y'all need to go visit. And I would encourage you, do this one in Virginia and do that one in the Smoky Mountains. Go to the reservation in Cherokee in the Smoky Mountains. You will not regret it. I've been to both places. I know the history of the Cherokee. Now I learned the history of the Powhatans, which is my family lineage. I would not trade this information for anything, and I would have not have traded this day for anything. I'm still thanking dear husband for taking me this day to this place that meant so much to me, and to see where my ancestors came from. And I already know where my ancestors from my mother's side comes from. Maybe someday someone can pick up with the second volume and finish my Oliver side. But I would encourage anybody to trace your lineage down if you can, as far back as you can. But I enjoyed this day so much, and now you're going to see the outside encampment, the settlement. We got to watch some demonstrations. We watched a guy make arrows. They were tanning hides. They were drying berries. They had people, there was a blacksmith, medicine, how they used some of the natural Native Americans used herbs and plants as medicine. We got to watch that. We got to watch a rifle demonstration of when they, some of the colonials, some of their rifles and ammunition. We had a firing demonstration. It was awesome. Just to see some of these demonstrations and to learn some things. You see the tanning of the hides there. How they journaled. There was one of the canoes that someone hewed out. This is going into the gates. Y'all, just the history. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, y'all, because I'm like, I'm from them. Y'all, it's exciting to trace your heritage back, your lineage. If you have the time and if you can, please do. The Jamestown Settlement got to interacting with a lot of the colonials. They made peace. They became friends. And y'all, if you ever get the chance, make the Triangle tour from the American Revolutionary War Museum, which was at the beginning of this clip. Go back and pause some of those pictures and read our United States history. And then read on some of these clips in the Settlement Museum, the outdoors. It was just a treat, y'all, and it was an honor to be walking on some of the same grounds that my ancestors walked on. And I'm still thanking dear hubby to this day for being with me and walking through this with me. If you get the chance in Virginia, go to Yorktown, go to the American Revolutionary War Museum. Make sure to walk the outside grounds. Then go drive just like 2 miles down the road, Jamestown Settlement. Then if you can make it, we didn't get to, but go to Williamsburg and go see the battleship and tour it too. Thank y'all for going through this with me. Let me share this day with y'all. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video clips. And like I said, if you can, pause on some of them and read them. There was some of the modern medicine, how they extracted oils from rosemary and thyme and oregano and other herbs. Natural remedies, y'all. God's pharmacy. Y'all, please go visit some of these areas and visit the one in Tennessee, the Cherokee Reservation in North Carolina, across the state line to Tennessee, Cades Cove, Townsend, Tennessee. Ride through that. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Thank you for sharing this special video with me. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see y'all in upcoming videos. Enjoy the rest.